Buddham, Buddham, Buddham Vande. Dhammang, Dhammang, Dhammang Vande. Sanghang, Sanghang, Sanghang Vande. Buddham, Dhammang, Sanghang Vande. Homage to the Buddha. Homage to the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. Homage to the Sangha, the noble disciples of the Buddha. Homage to the Triple Gem. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable says, monastic friends, Dhamma friends, we again gather here for our Dhamma session. In this session, we hope to discuss the way of a blissful life and the way of deliverance. In Pali language, we can say it as Saggamagga and Mokkhamagga. The path that leads to a blissful life and also the path or way that leads to our enlightenment or liberation. Sometimes you may not believe next life. It doesn't matter. Whether you believe or not next life, all of us believe this life. All of us want to live happily in this life. When we practice the path of heaven or the path of deliverance, the main result that we receive happiness. That happiness is in the present moment. But finally we understand the equanimity is better. Through happiness, finally we reach the equanimity, upekkha. However, everyone likes happiness. Therefore, Dhamma also explains the path of happiness. We do everything in the name of happiness. From birth to death, from morning to evening, we do all activities for our happiness. When we practice Dhamma, we especially practice happiness. Happiness, according to Dhamma, completely depends on purification of our mind. The more we purify our mind, the more we overcome suffering. Whenever we are angry, whenever we are greedy, whenever we are ignorant, actually we have no real happiness. Especially, anger disturbs our peace of mind. Greed disturbs our peace of mind. Firstly, we try to overcome anger and greed. By practicing generosity, we train our mind in order to overcome greed or attachment. By practicing metta bhavana and precepts or virtue, we train our mind in order to overcome anger. Especially, when we are angry with someone or something, we have no real peace of mind. That is why Dhamma explains, he who wishes to attain the peace of mind should practice loving kindness, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. On the path of happiness, practicing metta bhavana is highly appreciated and recommended in Buddhist teachings. However, Buddhism explains the path of heaven or path of a blissful life and also a path of the enlightenment or liberation. Why did Buddha explain the path of heaven or the path of a blissful life? when Buddha attained enlightenment, Buddhahood, he gained some psychic energies, spiritual energies. One of them is that 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. It means he received a very special energy that he cultivated the energy of how people die and how people will be reborn. He received this spiritual energy. It is explained in the Dhamma like when someone goes to a house from a house, if a person is in the middle, he can see very clearly this person now is here, now he is going to this house. He sees very clearly that person goes to a place from another place. Similarly, Buddha says, I understood that the people, the beings, how they pass away, how they die in this life, and also how they will be reborn in the next life. In the current society, not only Buddhist, many people in the world understand the rebirth. I think there is a very special research in Virginia University. If you're interested in, you can refer it in internet. You can read some books. There are a lot of studies, the case studies that we can see there. They have doing a lot of experiments in various countries for more than 5 decades. It is a long period research. Still they are doing. Especially they use hypnotize. Using some techniques, speaking with some people, they have discovered some rebirth stories. Not only that, in ancient religions in India, they could get some psychic energies and also they understood the beings die and born again and again. Buddha especially realized this reality, this truth, the rebirth. And when Buddha saw this reality, Buddha understood many people in the human realm, after they die, where they are going to, where they go to. They go to the lower realm lives. They miss the blissful life. Many people, as soon as they die, they go to the lower realms. They are suffering in the lower realms. When Buddha saw this thing, Buddha was so compassionate. And also after Buddha attained enlightenment, when Buddha came to preach Dhamma to the world, Buddha understood that there are some people in this world, they can't understand this message because this is a very difficult message. But they can understand the path of heaven or path of a blissful life. That is why firstly, Buddha pointed out the way how we receive a blissful life after we die. For that, Buddha explained the path. Firstly, Buddha explained the law of karma, the karmic law. Whatever we do with intention, we will have the same results. If we do some bad deeds, we have to come to the lower realms. Buddha showed this thing to the world with kindness and compassion. And here especially Buddha explained the path of heaven or path of a blissful life. For that, Buddha explained 3 meritorious deeds. The very first one is generosity or dana. The second one, virtue or sila. The third one, meditation or bhavana. Buddha explained these 3 things for a blissful life. Firstly, Buddha explains the importance of practicing generosity, sharing something with others. Why did Buddha explain the dana in first? If we are very greedy, if we have big attachment, actually we don't come to the next spiritual steps. When we are generous, our mind is so pure and calm. That pure mind helps us to go forward on this spiritual life. And also, most people, after they die, they go to the lower realms because of big attachment, craving, or greed. Most people, after they die, they go to the ghost life, hungry ghost life, because of big attachment. That is why, first of all, we should practice generosity. When we practice generosity, we are ready to share something. We have no big attachment. We are ready to leave something as the person who is generous. Generosity can be practiced in 3 ways. Amisadana, Abhayadana, Dhammadana. Amisadana means giving material things, food, clothes, medicine, shelter, vehicles, residence. We can offer these things for someone as we can. When we have this generosity or sharing, we are happy when other people are happy with our offerings. Not only that, practicing generosity is the way how we make friends. He who has a generous heart wins friends. When we are going to get attraction of the people, we always try to do our makeup, very beautiful clothes, some jewelries. We do these things. Actually, that is also important. But practicing generosity is more important if you want to make friends. One day, a deity asked a question from the Buddha, Bhante, how we make friends? Buddha says, he who practices generosity wins friends. That is very important. All of us are happy to be famous in this society. For that, we have to practice generosity. That is not our purpose, but we do practice generosity for our inner peace, not to be famous. But automatically that result will come to our life. Not only that, by practicing generosity, we receive good friends. You are here because of your generosity. You are generous people. That is why you meet the good association, and through good association, you have a chance to listen to Dhamma. spiritual message. All of you can be happy because of your generous heart. You are here. At least you have dedicated your life for several days for this retreat. That is why you are here. At least you have paid for your transportation. That is why you are here. If you are so greedy, you don't like to even give money for your transportation when you come to here. Because of your generous heart, you are here. That is very important. We can practice generosity in 3 ways. One of them is giving material things such as food, medicine, clothes, vehicles, lights, and residence. And finally, we practice Dhammadana, the gift of Dhamma, sharing Dhamma with others. This is the highest generosity. That is why Dhamma explains the gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. Sabbadhanam Dhammadhanam jinati. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. If you give a food for someone, that is beneficial for several days. If you give a cloth for someone, that is beneficial for several years, 1 or 2 years. If you give a job for someone, that is beneficial until he will retire. If you give a residence for someone, it is beneficial until he will die. But if you share Dhamma with someone, that is beneficial for even his next birth. That helps him to overcome his samsaric circle completely. That will help him to overcome the suffering completely. That is why sharing Dhamma or Dhammadana or the gift of Dhamma is highly appreciated in Buddhist teachings. And also there is another dana, generosity, which is abhedana. If you can save some person's lives, that belongs to abhedana, giving fearlessness, protecting others' life. At least an ant is in the water. If you can save that ant, that belongs to abhedana. You protect, you save a life. In these 3 ways, amisadana, giving materials, abhedana, giving fearlessness or lives, and Dhammadana, the gift of Dhamma. In these 3 ways, we can practice generosity. As the result of practicing this generosity, we can live happily, and also that helps us to make good friends in our life. Next, we come to the next meritorious deed, which is virtue or moral conduct, discipline in our speech and behavior, especially practicing 5 precepts: abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from foul speech, and abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs that cause us heedlessness. When you practice these 5 human values, 5 qualities, you can live happily, peacefully, and successfully in your life. Not only that, when other people practice these qualities, that helps you too. And also, when you practice these qualities as a lay person in your home, at home, you are honored, you are respected, you are appreciated by your close relatives and friends. When you practice these qualities as a person who works in an office or some institute, you are honored by others. They are confident in you. They think that you are a responsible person. If they need to give you some responsibilities, they directly give that responsibility for you. If they need to give a promotion to someone, they firstly select you because they have confidence in your character, your behavior. That is very useful. Dhamma explains that he who has a virtuous life earns a lot of money. That is one of the ways how we can be famous in this life. Even though we practice generosity, if we have some misbehaviors, some people don't like us. Even though we are generous, if they know that we steal something from others, they are not confident in us because they know that even though we practice generosity, we spend that money by stealing something. Even though you don't practice generosity, if you practice these 5 precepts, you are more honorable and respected. Not only that, practicing 5 precepts is the direct way how to become a blissful life hereafter. What is the reason? We practice 5 precepts. We are away from killing beings. Even though we have anger, never we kill a person. Never we disturb a person's life. We may have angry, but we never kill a person. We have control. Even though we have desire or attachment, never we steal anything from others. Since we practice the second precept, which is undertake the training rule, abstaining from stealing. Even though we have lust, we don't do any sexual misconduct because we practice it. That is why practicing 5 precepts directly helps us to receive a blissful life hereafter. And also next meritorious act is that practicing meditation or samatha bhavana. There are 40 samatha meditation techniques explained in Buddhist teachings. We can practice these things as we like. If we want to beautify, shine our life, our mind, we have to practice these meditation objects. They are more beneficial, more useful for our spiritual life. As a result of practicing these meditation techniques, especially when we practice metta bhavana, we are pleased to human beings and other beings too, non-humans too. Manussanam piyo hoti, amanussanam piyo hoti. He who practices metta bhavana is pleased to human beings and other beings, non-human beings too. Look at here. Look at these three meritorious deeds. Generosity, 5 precepts, and metta bhavana. These three things directly help us to be famous. Not only among the human beings, but even non-human beings. When we practice metta bhavana, we have a lot of friends in the invisible world. Even though we don't see them, they can see us. When we spread metta bhavana for everyone in this world, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. All the people in this world are our friends. Even though we don't see them physically through our eyes, we have a lot of friends in this world. Especially devas are pleased to us. They are near to us. They are dear to us. As the result of practicing these three meritorious deeds, we can spend a blissful and also a happy life. No matter whether you believe or not a next life, you can receive a blissful life. Even though you don't like to become a next life, but as a result of your good deeds, meritorious deeds, you will receive a blissful life. Not only you receive a good life, but you receive good friends. You will receive the good association. Because of this Dhamma practice, you will meet the same persons who are practicing Dhamma. If you are interested in Dhamma, it means your mind seeks, your mind finds some same people who practice Dhamma. That is very important. That is why you have met spiritual friends here. If you continue this association again and again, you will receive the same persons who are in the spiritual path. Not only in this life, after you will die, immediately when you leave this life, you will receive the same persons who are in the same track, who are practicing Dhamma. This is the way what the Buddha explained for a blissful life hereafter. And also, at the same time, we always reflect on 5 things in our life. According to the 𝒮𝓃 Sutta, which comes in Anguttara Nikaya. 𝒮𝓃, always we should reflect on these 5 things. I think in the morning when you recite some stanzas, Vandana here, you recited those 5 things in Pali language and German language too. Our monastics recited it very calmly. Do you remember? What is the first one? I am subject to decay. I am subject to old age, aging. Day by day, I am going to old age. This should be reflected on. This thing should be reflected on again and again by anyone. No matter you are lay person or monk, no matter you are lady or gentleman, everyone should contemplate on, reflect on this thing. I am subject to old age. I am not exempt from aging, from old age. If we have this understanding, we get the result from our life. Our young age is very important. Our healthy life is very important. We practice Dhamma as much as we can. That is the very first thing what we should reflect on every moment. Not only once a time, and frequently we have to reflect on it again and again. I am subject to old age, decay, or aging. I am not exempt from aging, from old age. That is the first one. The second thing, I am subject to illness. I am not exempt from sickness or illness. Anytime, I am subject to illness. This is also should be reflected on again and again. If we know this reality, when we are healthy, we try to get the results through our life by practicing Dhamma. Arogya Paramalabha. Health is the greatest gain. Health is the best gaining. That is the second one. The third one, I am subject to death. I am not away from death. I am not exempt from death. One day, I reach this reality, whether we like or not, whether we accept or not. One day, Buddha says, we should follow the Dhamma because of three reasons, three causes. What they are? The very first one is aging. The second one is death. The third one is rebirth. Because of these three reasons, we should find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. If we don't have these three things, we don't need to practice Dhamma. We have to practice Dhamma, and also we should find a spiritual teacher because of these three reasons. What they are? Aging, death, and rebirth. According to 𝐴භිඤ්ඤ ℶ𝐵𝑘, the fourth one is that if we have some dear and near persons, one day we have to leave everything behind us. Whatever I like, dear or near or agreeable, one day we have to leave everything. One day we have to be retired. One day we leave our young age. We gradually come to old age. And also finally we have to leave everything, our properties, our children, our friends. Finally, we have to leave even our physical body. This physical body is also not permanent for us. This is an impermanent thing, the temporary thing that we have received. One day we have to leave this physical body too. We should think it again and again. And also finally we should think that I am the owner of my own karma. The karma, what I do, good or bad, is my relative. That is my heir. That is my heritage. That is my real friendship. No matter whatever we do, good or bad, that is my real property. That is my heir. that is my relative. I am the result of my own karma. We are here because of this karma. We all can be happy that we have done a lot of good deeds in our previous lives. That is why we all have received a blissful life in this human world. Not only that, we have received a very special benefit, which is that listening to Dhamma. The opportunity to listening to Dhamma. We are so fortunate. And these 5 things, aging, sickness, death, separation from our nearer and dearer, agreeable things, and finally we are the owner of our own karma. If we know these 5 things, if we have understood these 5 real things in our lives, we always try to cultivate our mind. We always protect our mind from negative thoughts. The more we protect our mind from negativities, the more we are happier. We live happily in this life. Not only that, as soon as we live this life, we receive a blissful, happy life. This is the way how we receive a blissful life. This is the 𝒮𝓃 the way, the path of a blissful life. By practicing 3 meritorious deeds, dana, generosity, sila, 5 precepts, and bhavana, metta bhavana, or any other samatha meditation technique. Next, Buddha explains mokkha-magga, the path of deliverance. Again and again we discuss this understanding. Here we understand how suffering arises, how suffering ceases. Whenever we are ignorant, we think that there is a world. After we experience the world, we think that still the world is around us. Then our mind depends on the material world. It means we are in the samsaric circle. We have to face the suffering of decay, sickness, separation, so on. Whenever we understand that now the world around me has completely ceased, when I understand something through my mind consciousness, and also that mind consciousness also arises and ceases at the moment. With this understanding, we always practice mindfulness, being aware of our body and mind. Finally, we always reflect on impermanence, arising and ceasing of our body and mind. And here we understand 5 aggregates, 4 noble truths, and the dependent origination. These 3 things are interrelated. The more we understand the dependent origination, the more we understand 4 noble truths and 5 aggregates as well. The more we understand the 4 noble truths, the more we understand the dependent origination and the 5 aggregates as well. The more we understand the 5 aggregates, the more we understand the 4 noble truths and the dependent origination as well. Whenever we listening to Dhamma about the deliverance path, the path of deliverance or the path of liberation, we can see these 3 fundamentals in Buddhist teachings. What they are? the dependent origination, Four Noble Truths, and the five aggregates. Understanding the world reality as it is, these three things are interrelated. But they are the Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, and five aggregates. What they are? The dependent origination or the Paටිසමුප්පාද, Four Noble Truths, Arya Satya, and five aggregates, Upadanaskandha, Panchupadanaskandha. These three things are interrelated. How do we understand these three things at once? Whenever we understand the first truth of suffering, the noble truth of suffering, there we understand the arising of five aggregates. When we understand the origin of suffering, we understand the ascending order of the Paටිසමුප්පාද or dependent origination. When we understand the cessation of suffering, we understand the descending order of the Paටිසමුප්පාද or the dependent origination. That is why the dependent origination, Four Noble Truths, and five aggregates are interrelated. As the result of understanding these three things, immediately we come to the path. What is the path? The fourth noble truth. What is that? Magga Satya, the path of liberation, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. Ariyaṭṭhaṅගික Magga. That is very clear. Again and again, we have to listen in these three things. What they are? Paටිසමුප්පාද or the dependent origination, Arya Satya or Chaturvarya Satya, the Four Noble Truths, and Panchupadanaskandha, five aggregates. As the result of understanding these three things, we are confident in practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. We find the spiritual path, which is the red carpet where we are going on. Step by step, we go forward on this path, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. We conduct all the activities from morning to evening, from our understanding into our end of the life. We do all activities. Whenever we speak something, that belongs to right speech. Whenever we do some activities physically, that belongs to right action. Whenever we have an effort, that belongs to right effort. Whenever we have intention, that is right intention. Whenever we do a job, that is right livelihood. Whenever we concentrate our mind, that is right concentration. Especially, when we practice mindfulness, that belongs to right mindfulness. That belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path. That is not just mindfulness. Mindfulness should be right mindfulness. That belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path based on right understanding. What is the right understanding? How suffering arises and ceases. With this understanding, we follow all the qualities. And also we conduct all the activities, all the behaviors of our life based on the Noble Eightfold Path, it doesn't mean that we are experiencing happiness. We are not imagining or thinking or seeking or finding happiness. We have already experiencing happiness. We are already experiencing happiness whenever we practice samadhi. We purify our mind. We cultivated jhana facts, initial application, sustained applications, joy, happiness, and pointedness. These are the facts of the jhana. We experience these facts of jhana whenever we practice an object of meditation. We live with that meditation object. When we practice metta bhavana, our entire life depends on the metta bhavana. Whenever we practice karuna bhavana, the meditation of compassion, our mind is filled with compassion. Whenever we practice mudita bhavana, the meditation of appreciative joy, our mind is filled with sympathetic joy. Whenever we practice upekkha bhavana, our mind is filled with equanimity. We live equanimously. Whenever we practice the contemplation of the Buddha's qualities, our heart, our mind is like a room for the Buddha. Buddha lives in our heart at that moment whenever we practice Buddhanusati or the contemplation of the qualities of the Buddha. Whenever we practice Dhammanusati, the contemplation of the qualities of the Dhamma, at that moment, our mind is filled with the Dhamma. Whenever we practice the Sangha-anusati, the contemplation of the qualities of the noble ones, noble disciples of the Buddha, at that moment, Venerable Sariputta, Moggallana, Mahakāssyapa, Venerable Khema, Uppalavanna, all the noble ones, they are in our heart. We are living with them in the same monastery. No matter where you are in. Even though you are at home, even though you are on the road, even though you are in your office, no matter where you are in, you are with the noble disciples. Whenever you practice Sangha-anusati bhavana, the contemplation of the qualities of the Sangha. And also, whenever you practice the contemplation of generosity, then you remind all the generous activities you have already practiced. Recollecting on the generosity, we practice meditation. I have donated these kind of things for people. When you think it, your mind gradually gains concentration, reducing hindrances. And also Sila-anusati, the contemplation of our virtuous life. When you think that I am practicing 5 precepts, based on our virtuous life, we can contemplate our mind again and again. And finally, we can concentrate our mind on our virtuous life. So on. We can practice 40 meditation techniques that help us to purify our mind, that help us to live happily and peacefully in this immediate life. Okay? While you are listening to Dhamma, be happy, you are practicing Dhamma. This listening is not away from practice. Your mind gradually goes to the deeper level with the practice whenever you are listening to Dhamma with good attention and mindfulness. Now, we are going to practice some meditation techniques. Firstly, we practice about our generosity. Next, we practice our virtuous life. And also we practice metta bhavana. And finally, we practice anicca bhavana, insight meditation based on breathing meditation. Okay, for that please get ready. You can sit as you are comfortable. Please relax your body. Be comfortable. Stretch your body, please. Place your eyes closely. Place your eyes close gently. And keep your attention around the nose or upper lip in the present moment. I completely keep my attention in the present moment with mindfulness. With this awareness, please be aware of your body posture that you are sitting here. Sitting, sitting, sitting. I completely live in the present moment with the awareness of my body posture that I am sitting here. Next, I am going to practice the contemplation of generosity or the 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the contemplation of generosity or charity. You can think about your generosity that you have already practiced and also you are practicing just now. You have helped your parents. You have donated something for some innocent people or some virtuous persons. You have donated your blood or body parts. You have offered clothes, medicine, food, shelter for someone. You can think one of them which is very special. I am a very generous person. I have donated these things for the people, for the beings. With a generous heart, I have practiced these kind of activities and also still I am practicing some good deeds, offering something to someone. With pure hand, with my beautiful hands, I have donated these things for the world with a pure mind. The contemplation of generosity or charity that I am contemplating on now. When I contemplate on my virtuous life offerings to the world, my mind gradually gains concentration, purification. My mind is filled with happiness about my generosity. I am a generous person who has a generous heart. I am contemplating on my virtuous life offerings to the world. You can think some special thing what you have offered to the world. My mind is filled with happiness about generosity that I have already practiced. with this positive energy, I try to practice this generosity again and again for my inner peace, my happiness, for the well-being of many people in the world, many beings in the world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Generosity is not just a meditation. We can practice it as a merit. Not only we practice generosity as a merit, but we can reflect on it again and again as a meditation technique. Then you have to practice generosity maximally. If you don't practice generosity, we can practice this meditation technique. Okay, don't forget it. I know already you have practiced, you are practicing, you are generous people. At least you help your parents. That is a good meritorious act. If your parents are living, please help them as much as you can. That is also a place where we practice generosity. And also, no matter whatever we practice generosity as big things or small things, we should do it with a pure mind. You always think that when we offer something to someone, it should be very big and very expensive. No. If you offer at least very small thing with dedication, that is good enough. But we should do it very good heart, attentively, and with mindfully. If we can practice only very few things for our generosity, that is good enough for the well-being of many people, many beings. Okay, that is very important. Generosity opens your spiritual faculties. All the spiritual faculties are open whenever we have a generous heart. We are ready to go forward on this path since we meet good association as soon as we start our generous life. That is very important. And also whenever we have to leave everything behind us, dear and near. Therefore, we should have to practice generosity as much as we can. Then we can make our mind strong whenever we live this life. If we are very greedy with our properties, with our things, it is very difficult to live our last moment, our death. If we have practiced generosity, easily we can face the last moment without attachment, without fear, without suffering. Okay, that is very important. Next, we are going to practice Sila Anusati, or the contemplation of virtue or moral conduct. That is also a meditation technique. Buddha Anusati, Dhamma Anusati, Sangha Anusati. Then we practice Sila Anusati, the contemplation of our virtuous life. At least we practice 5 precepts. All of us. practice these 5 qualities. When we think our virtuous life again and again, that is also a place where we purify our mind from negative thoughts, from hindrances. Now we are going to practice Silanusati, the recollection of virtue or moral conduct, our Sila. Okay? Please get ready for that. Relax your body, please. Have a deep breath in. Fill your lungs with air. Hold few seconds. Breathe out slowly. Again, have a deep breath in, please. Fill your lungs. Hold few seconds. Breathe out slowly and completely. And relax your body, please. Straight your body. Close your eyes gently as you are comfortable. And be aware of your body posture that you are sitting here. From your head to legs and from your legs to head. Please keep your attention around the nose or upper lip in the present moment with mindfulness. At the same time, now I am going to reflect on my virtuous life. Silanusati Bhavana, the contemplation of virtue or moral conduct. I have discipline in my speech and behavior. Especially, I practice 5 precepts. Abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, and also abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs that causes heedlessness. I practice these 5 qualities maximally every day, every moment. I am reflecting on my spiritual and virtuous life. I am a person who practices 5 precepts very well. I have discipline in my speech and behavior. I completely keep my attention around the nose of upper lip. At the same time, I am contemplating on my virtuous life. I keep my full attention around the nose or upper lip in the present moment based on mindfulness. At the same time, I am recollecting of my virtuous life that I practice 5 precepts. My mind is filled with happiness when I recollecting on my virtuous life, discipline in my speech and behavior. Especially in this retreat, I am practicing these 5 qualities, and also especially I practice noble silence. I have good discipline in my speech in these days. And again, I come to the Sati Nimitta, the sign of mindfulness. I am aware of the end of nose or upper lip in the present moment. I completely live in the present moment with awareness. With this awareness, I am going to end this meditation, which is 𝒮𝓃 the contemplation of virtue. I try to continue my virtuous life as much as I can, since this practice brings me happiness, my inner peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have you any Dhamma questions? I think we're listening to a lot of doctrines in Buddhism. Therefore, I would like to end our session here. But if you like, later you can practice Metta Bhavana when you go to your sleeping place. However, no matter wherever you are in, if you practice mindfulness, it means you are practicing Dhamma. Especially we practice 3 characteristics and 3 disciplines. Especially in our spiritual path for the deliverance, for the enlightenment, we practice Sila, Samadhi and Panya. Sila means virtue or moral conduct based on the Noble Eightfold Path, and Samadhi, concentration based on right understanding, and wisdom reflecting on impermanence or practicing insight meditation. We should practice this spiritual path again and again, and also whenever we have confidence in this message, actually we can always practice this path. Practicing Dhamma is the easiest way in this world. We can understand whenever we are away from Dhamma, we are uncomfortable. Like a fish who comes from water is uncomfortable. One day we feel like that. Whenever we are following the Noble Eightfold Path, our life is so comfortable, since we have no anger, no big attachment, no greed or craving, and also we are reducing ignorance little by little. Our main purpose is not just reducing craving and anger, but our main focus is that reducing ignorance. What is ignorance? We think there is a world around us at this moment. That is the nature of ignorance. It doesn't mean that there is no world. Actually, there is a material world. In this material world, there are no children, no parents, no siblings, no tables, no microphones. According to conventional truth, there are microphones, there are speakers, there are tables, there is a cat. According to the conventional truth, there are persons in the outside world. But according to the ultimate truth, we find only the four fundamental elements: solidity, fluidity, heat and motion. When someone sees you, he or she thinks that you are he or her mom. When you see your mother or father, they may think that this is my daughter. When you meet your grandson or daughter, they may think that this is my grandma. There is no grandma, daughter or wife in the outside world. That depends on other person's perception. When we meet you, we think that you are Dhamma friends. When you see your classmates who are in the university, they may think that you are their friends. When there is an animal here, like some cruel animal, lion, if he is here, they may think that this is a very good meal for me. That is why in the outside world, according to the ultimate truth, there are no sons, no daughters, no mothers, no fathers. If you are a mother or father or daughter or son, it should be for every person. But it is different from person to person according to their perception. But finally we can see in the outside world, in the material world, only four fundamental elements: earth element, water element, fire element and air element. Solidity, fluidity, heat and motion. This also depends on our perception. Now, according to my perception, this is the world. I can see the wall. I can go through the wall. If my perception changes at this moment, immediately my senses change. When I receive a psychic energy at this moment, then immediately I can see it through the wall. I can go through the wall if I have psychic energy. That is the nature of the life. If there is a ghost here, he can go through the wall. This is a wall for my world. This is different from person to person. Not only that, this is different from moment to moment. Even though you are the same person, now you are pleased to me. If I blame you, at once your perception changes, your mind consciousness changes. Then you look at me, this is the person who blamed me. Then you are not pleased to me. After I leave here, you look at here, this is the place where that person who blamed me was sitting. You are angry not only with me, but even with these things that I used. That is the nature of our life. We completely depends on our perception. In the primary level, in the conventional truth, we go to change the world. From morning to evening, we clean everywhere, we prepare everything, we adjust everything in the outside world for our happiness, for our inner peace. But when we go to the deeper level, with the understanding of the wisdom in the supramundane level, in the ultimate truth, without changing anything in the outside world, just changing our perception, we can associate the world as we like. If I want to live with the understanding of beauty, even though I see very ugly thing, if I want to change the perception, I can experience that as beautiful. This is the highest result of practicing Dhamma. The Arahant person, he can associate the world as he likes. If he wants to associate the world as a pleasant thing, he can do it. If he wants to associate the world as an unpleasant thing, he can do it. If he wants to live perceiving equanimity, if he wants to live equanimously, avoiding the repulsive and unrepulsive, he can do it. When he sees the world as empty, reflecting on impermanence, arising in 5 aggregates, ceasing 5 aggregates, then he sees the world as empty. He can completely overcome the repulsive and unrepulsive. He can immediately come to equanimity. This is the wonder of practicing Dhamma. For that, we have to go forward little by little. It has a gradual path. It has a gradual process, like the ocean. The ocean deepens gradually from the beach to the deeper level. We also practice gratitude, generosity, 5 precepts, metta bhavana, samatha bhavana, mindfulness, finally reflecting on impermanence as insight meditation. Directly we focus on 5 aggregates. Every moment 5 aggregates arise in the primary level. Then they immediately cease. When I experience the world, my connection is with mind objects and mind consciousness. We can see something looking at something. But even though we close our eyes, still we can see it. I can see all of you even though I close my eyes. How do I see it? Through my eye consciousness? No. Through my mind consciousness. Is it just moment? No, what I have seen earlier. Our entire life is like that. When you dream something, when you are sleeping, you can see someone who has already passed away, who came to see you wearing a white cloth. After you wake up, you can remember, my grandma came to meet me wearing a very beautiful white cloth. Did you see white color through your eye consciousness? No, you saw the dream while you was closing your eyes. How did you see the white color? Our mind sometimes can see colors. What is that color? That is the color which I have already seen in previously. When you are dreaming, sometimes a person who has already passed away, he or she came to you and he may tell something you, my daughter, my granddaughter, my grandson, please do a good thing, good karma for me and share merit with me. They may say something. Did you listen to that voice through your eye consciousness? No. You understood it through your mind consciousness. This is the nature of our life. We do a lot of activities through our mind consciousness. Actually, at this moment also, we live through our mind consciousness. We deal everything with our mind consciousness after the material world has already complete ceases. Then we have to do only thing which is the changing of our perception. When we can change our perception, we can change the entire world as we like. When you meditate, if you want to think that now I am sitting near a very beautiful pond which has a lot of lotus flowers, you can create the world and you can meditate. When someone blames you, if you are wise and mindful, immediately you understand this person is not blaming me, he is appreciating me. We can change our perception. If you want to say that this person is not blaming to me, but he is blaming to near person who is my enemy. Actually, truly he is blaming me, but we change our perception. He is not blaming for me. He is blaming another person who is my enemy. Then what happens to you? You are not angry. You are not upset. And also if you want to see that when I listen to this sound, the sound has completely ceased. My eye consciousness has ceased. This person also has ceased at that moment. I am reading my own mind. Then immediately we can come to the equanimity. This is the result of the Dhamma. This is the way how we overcome suffering completely. All the things we can see in the message of the Buddha. But we should go forward very smoothly, slowly, mindfully, helping others. The more you help others, the more you receive the Dhamma. You prepare food for others, you wash others' dishes, plates, That is why you receive this Dhamma. That is why you understand this Dhamma. If you don't do it, you don't receive this valuable message, sublime message. Even though you are listening to this message, you can't understand it. You are listening to this message and you understand this message very easily because of your good qualities that you do through your eyes, through your hands, by your hands. When you look at your hands, you can be happy. Then your hands are very beautiful. These hands, wow, this hand wash others' plates. Wow, very nice, my hands. That is the way how we shine our hands, our body. Then we can understand our generous heart, generous behaviors. This is the way how we cultivate our inner peace, happiness. The more you work for others, the more you are happier. At the same time, you will receive the blissful message, the sublime message, which directly helps us to overcome suffering. Because of your good values, human values, good karma, good qualities, you are here, you receive this message, and also you understand this message, and also you practice this message. While you are listening to this message, at the same time, your mind works with the Dhamma. Your mind gradually purifies. This is the nature of listening to Dhamma. Listening to Dhamma is the practice of Dhamma. Preaching Dhamma also practice of Dhamma. When I help you, I help more for myself. You may think that I am talking for the audience. No. When I talk to you, the formal world has completely ceased. I am talking for myself. I am dealing with my own mind consciousness. Whenever I preach Dhamma for you, I preach Dhamma for my mind. At the same time, I am cultivating, I am purifying my mind. Whenever you are angry with someone, with whom you are angry, you are angry with your own mind. That person doesn't know that you are angry. You are getting angry with someone, you don't look at no, that person is not good. Don't look in that there. That person doesn't know that you are angry. You are angry with your own mind. You are living in your past experience. You are giving punishment for your mind by yourself. That person doesn't care it. Whether you practice metta bhavana for him, that doesn't need for him. When you practice metta bhavana for others, you cultivate metta for yourself. That is why results come to you. When you practice metta bhavana, the results of metta bhavana come to you, not for the person who spread metta to other world. The results come to you. At the same way, when you get angry with someone, anger will punish you. Since you are getting angry with your own mind. Not only that, the one that you can make angry will become your master. Since you are controlled by that person, you are master of that person. The one who can make you angry will become your master. If someone can't get you angry, you are your own master. Since you are not controlled by anyone in this world. If you have any Dhamma questions, you can ask. Do you need to know anything about the Dhamma or our previous discussions? What do you practice in these days? What are you practicing in these days? Especially what you practice. What are you practicing in these days in the retreat? Besides what I explained. What are the special things that you practice in these days? Is there any? I think most of you practice noble silence. That is very good. When we are silent, we look at inside, what happens to me. We are very busy in our regular life. When we work with others, we always look at outside world. We have no chance to look at me, what happens to me, who I am. But when you are silent, immediately you look at yourself. When we listening to Dhamma, through the Dhamma, we go to the highest contemplation, which is 𝒮𝓃 the contemplation of mind. That is also one of the parts of the mindfulness. Have you any Dhamma question? Anyone?
Sometimes when I meditate, I realize that there's some, I don't know how to describe, some emotional pain coming up.
It is a physical pain? Emotional pain. What kind of pain like?
I mean, it feels a bit physical as well. It sits in the stomach and it doesn't leave for a while. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to just sit there and hold it, or if there's any technique to deal with it in a better way, or to wait until it's gone, or to accept, you know?
Yes, actually, when we are sensitive, mostly we are emotional and some feelings come to our mind. That is the nature of our mind. But the very important thing, whenever you understand that I have some feelings, I have some emotions, it means you are in practice. When we practice 𝒮𝓃 the contemplation of our mind, the mindfulness is divided into 4. One of them is the 𝒮𝓃 the contemplation of our mind or consciousness. It means we are aware of our mind. We understand what happens to my mind at the moment. Whenever mind is confused or emotional, whenever mind is angry or lustful, when mind is ignorant, when mind is not lustful, not anger, whatever condition our mind has, we immediately understand it. That is also means that we are in practice. But again and again we see it, by practicing Dhamma we understand this mind also impermanent. It is not permanent. It doesn't go far. Now you are emotional or very sensitive, next time you are very strong. That is the nature of our mind. And also when we reflect on our mind, then gradually we go to the positive thoughts, wholesome mental states. Then gradually you can go to positive emotions such as loving kindness, such as compassion, mudita or sympathetic joy, and reflecting on your generosity, reflecting on your virtue. These are the positive emotions that we practice. Emotions are not bad all the way. Sometimes there are positive emotions, positive perceptions. Those things should be cultivated. We should develop positive thoughts. We should reduce only negative thoughts. One day, a deity came to Buddha and asked him, he says that whatever emotions, whatever mental formations come to my mind, I think I should reduce all the things. Did Buddha accept it? No, Buddha didn't accept it. Buddha think, if there are any positive thoughts, wholesome thoughts, you should cultivate it. If there are negative thoughts, unwholesome mental states, emotions, that should overcome. Okay, positive thoughts we should develop, and negative thoughts we can gradually overcome whenever we are mindful. And also we understand, whenever we have negative emotions, we are unhappy, we are confused, we are not happy, then gradually we replace wholesome positive mental states to our mind. When you think something, if your mind is not happy or confused, then we have to replace positive thoughts for that emotions. When you refer, there is a discourse which is 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶. Please refer it in Google. You can find 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶. That sutta explains five techniques how we do when negative thoughts come to our mind. One of them is that we should replace positive thoughts whenever we have negative thoughts, negative emotions. One of them is we should not think it again and again. If some emotion comes to your mind and disturb your peace of mind, you should not think it again and again. It doesn't mean that you should forget it. You don't forget anything, but we should not think it again and again. And also, there are several techniques that help us to overcome some negative thoughts from our mind. Especially, if you recognize some negative thoughts in your mind, don't worry, you are successful. You are in practice. There are some people in the society, in the world, they don't know even what thoughts come to their mind. But you are good. You are aware of your mind. It means you are in practice. Don't worry about it. When some thoughts come to your mind, if you understand those thoughts as it is, it means you are rich in your practice. But next, gradually we can overcome those negative thoughts. Since we know very well, when negative thoughts come to our mind, we are not happy, then immediately we come to positive thoughts if we are in mindful. If we are in mindfulness. Okay? And also, if you regularly practice some meditation techniques, such as metta bhavana or any other sublime states, and if you practice dhatu manasikara, the contemplation of fundamental elements, if you practice anapanasati, you can come to this kind of meditation techniques. If again and again those thoughts come to your mind, you can change your posture. Then you can practice walking meditation. When you do your walking mindfully, again and again, then your mind comes to your body posture. And also you can do some other good activities. You can clean somewhere, you can help someone, you can offer something to someone, you can speak with someone. Those things helps you to overcome those negative thoughts. And also you can select some good books that are useful for your mind. We can use several techniques for that. Especially, please read the discourse which is 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 Sutta. There we can see 5 techniques that help us to overcome some negative thoughts from our mind. Yes, your question?
Yeah, thank you, Bhakti. The question is kind of related because my family and I have experienced a lot of dukkha, and my kids in particular are not doing well. And I noticed after practicing 𝒮𝓃 that it almost sometimes functions as suppressing or dissociating from the negative emotions just so that I can survive. Like I've had 𝒮𝓃 before and had it seem to be wholesome, but today I had no access to it. Maybe because I was dealing with a lot of negative things come up on my last retreat a month ago. And 𝒮𝓃 feels to me, maybe it's because my situation is so difficult, but feels like bypassing. Do you understand? You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand something. Can you explain it some more, please? For example?
For example, I was on retreat a month ago and having wonderful metta and very deep practice, and a very negative emotion or a whole wall of negative emotions came up. I thought it was a ghost. It wasn't. It was a kind of an emotional flashback, and the Venerables leading the retreat did an excellent job, and everything was okay. But that experience is still present because of all the things that are happening to my kids and my family and to me. And I feel like 𝒮𝓃 can be sort of a, like, and not looking at, and then through not looking at it, a really terrible experience happened from inside mine. And I know causes and conditions, and I know not self, and that being reminded of that by the Venerables really helped. But I see a lot of people bypassing negative emotions every day.
We come equanimity after we practicing other 3 things. We practice metta, we practice karuna, mudita. After that, finally we come to 𝒮𝓃. We didn't come to the 𝒮𝓃 directly, at once. It is a gradual path, little by little. Firstly, we make others as our friends. We are friendly with others. Then, if someone is suffering, we try to help them by practicing karuna. When someone is successful, we are happy. We have sympathetic joy. And finally, if we can change the world, we gradually come to equanimity. Again and again, we try to help others. We don't avoid them. Actually, already we have tried to help them. Again and again, we try to do something for them. But finally, we have to come to this equanimity. You know, sometimes we can see in the society, some people have only one son or daughter. When he or she gets sick, again and again they try to help him or her. They give medicine, they give all the facilities. Finally, day by day, the sickness goes to worse. And finally, that person may pass away. We firstly tried help him again and again. We tried to help him or her again and again. At once, we didn't practice equanimity. We tried to help. We tried to overcome that sickness from him. But finally, we understood that we can't help. We did everything, but unfortunately, then we make a refuge within us. A lot of people in the world finally they automatically come to this situation. But we who know the Dhamma, before we come to that situation, we have already practiced these qualities, then we can easily come to this equanimity as a practice, as a meritorious act, as a wholesome activity. That is the important thing. That is a very good question. I like when you ask questions. Sometimes suddenly I may not understand you, but I try to do again and again. Please forgive me if I have mistakes. And English is my not first language. I think you also most of are same. Therefore, sometimes we have some language problems. But however, when we listening to it again and again, we can understand what your idea is. Okay, thank you. Have you any Dhamma question? Okay, if not, we are going to finish our session. We really appreciate your participation, your dedication for the Dhamma and for your spiritual development. By the power of this spirituality that we accrue through listening to Dhamma, through practicing Sila and Bhavana meditation, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May all your spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Dukkham pantāca nirdukkhaṃ, bhayam pantāca nirbhayam, sokam pantāca nissokāṃ, hontu sabbe pipānino. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.